The Mid-American Conference season winds down. The tournament just 5 days away. Both Western Michigan and Ball State look for momentum. Next on ESPN3. Welcome inside Worthen Arena for this women's volleyball match between the Western Michigan Broncos and the Ball State Cardinals. Hello everyone, I'm Corey Stace alongside Noah Reed, and Noah, with the MAC tournament looming, both of these teams in for seeding purposes, what changes strategy-wise?
Well, preparation and approach, nothing should change for either of these teams. Stick with the game plan that got you thus far this season, but there's no doubt about it. The impact of these matches going towards the tournament, it just gets bigger and bigger. Ball State's already in the MAC tournament. They've clinched a seed, but they can get as high as a 4th seed, which would give them a first-round bye. For Western Michigan, if the season ended today, they would have that 8th and final spot, but they're still fighting for their lives on the final weekend of the season.
Ball State right now slotted in at the number 6 seed. Western Michigan, on the other hand, slotted in at the number 8 seed. For Western Michigan, Sydney LeMay has been fantastic all season.
Sydney LeMay, a 2-time first-team all-conference member, including the MAC Freshman of the Year in 2014. She's just a junior, but she's already eclipsed the 1,000 career kill mark. This offense goes as she goes.
And for Ball State, Sydney Van Beek, the reigning MAC West Offensive Player of the Week.
Van Beek, in just her freshman season, as you said, the MAC West Offensive Player of the Week, coming off a career-high 10 kills Sunday against Akron. She averaged over 2 kills per set last weekend.
Ball State coach Kelly Miller said that when Sydney Van Beek is going in the middle, this offense becomes so much more versatile. Both Sydney LeMay and Sydney Van Beek need big nights tonight. Western Michigan's starting lineup, as they are 10-17 on the season, keying in on those middle blocker positions. Sydney LeMay, we just talked about, and Olivia Kofi. Don't sleep on her either. She's a big presence.
Absolutely not. 6'1" in the middle there for Olivia Kofi. She makes her presence known on the defensive side, nearly a block per set.
And for Ball State, here's a look at their starting lineup. Key that McAllen Kennedy is at the setter position as opposed to the freshman Amber Seaman. Seaman got hurt a few weeks back, and McAllen came in and really impressed Coach Miller, and she said heading into this match, they're riding the hot hand.
That happened about 2 or 3 weeks ago, and as you just said, riding the hot hand. Kennedy has been impressive as of late, and the junior gets the starting nod now.
Ball State and Western Michigan set for first serve in Worthen Arena. There's a look at Sydney Cheatham, the Naperville, Illinois native. She is a junior on this team, and she will start off the match for Western Michigan. Coach Munson said that she was the mom of the team. Fitting that she starts off with first serve for the Broncos. A free ball over from Ball State gives Western Michigan their first crack. Kennedy back set, and it was Avery DeVoe on the right. Head coach Kelly Miller for the Ball State Cardinals, taking over for a legend, Steve Shondell. She was a 6-year assistant for the Ball State women's volleyball team in her first season as a permanent head coach, as an ace from Ball State's McAllen Kennedy. Facing off against Colleen Munson, the head coach for Western Michigan in her 12th year at Western Michigan from 2005 to 2012. She led Western Michigan to 8 consecutive 20-win seasons, a remarkable feat for the Western Michigan program. Good sell, her first swing at it in this match. Good sell, has to set, and Avila sends a free ball over. On the left is Schnell. Coach Miller talked about those middle blockers attacking for Ball State. You saw Avery DeVoe, also Sydney Van Beek, a huge offensive presence. Kofi 2 put downs saved by Ball State both times, but Lauren Schreiner can't pick it up all the way from the back row.
A tremendous rally back and forth there between Ball State and Western Michigan. Ball State was back on their heels on defense most of the time, and that's what allowed Western Michigan to finally get it at the net.
Both of these teams playing for seeding within the Mid-American Conference Tournament. We mentioned just a few minutes ago, Ball State has the opportunity to get all the way to the 4 seed if they were to win 2 matches. They do not have the tiebreaker over Toledo or Bowling Green, who are they tied with at 8 and 6 within the Mid-American Conference. They would need both of those teams to at least lose 1, and Ball State would need to win both this weekend. They have a very tough opponent tomorrow in Northern Illinois, has only lost 1 within the MAC. Kitchell, a hard swing, and a free ball back over from Western Michigan. Kennedy inside to DeVoe between the 2 blockers.
You gotta love the balance that Kennedy is going with there in the front line. You've seen DeVoe have a couple swings. You've seen Goodsell, Mangapora, Kitchell as well. When you do that, you're able to separate it around, balance it around. That way Western Michigan's defense isn't able to key in on just one attacker.
Ball State leads early 4-1, a net violation by Mary Murphy, the setter for Western Michigan. 5-1, Ball State leads by 4. These 2 teams have met earlier this season. Ball State won that match in 4 sets in Kalamazoo. Hannah Smith serving. Goodsell hits the back line, a 5-point lead as Ball State. They talked about it all week in practice, come out with intensity. That's what Coach Kelly Miller was saying, and their players reiterated it.
And they're doing exactly that. Have a sense of urgency is something Mackenzie Kitchell said before the match today, and you can see that here early on with a 6-1 lead.
Murphy to Schnell. Blocked at the net by Ball State. DeVoe in the middle. Again, that one's home. Ball State, all Cardinals in Worthen, causes a Colleen Munson timeout in Muncie. Ball State leads 7-1 early in set number 1. We'll have action after this break. Do we want to?
What'd you say?
Ball State starting off red hot, 7-1. The Cardinals have a 6-point advantage. Avery DeVoe has been a key contributor in the middle, and we have not seen Sydney LeMay, the middle blocker for Western Michigan, so far. Hannah Smith still serving for the Cardinals. LeMay gets in on the action with the kill across court.
And that's exactly what you want coming out of a timeout. Down 7-1, trailing early. Coach Munson was forced to take a timeout early. You go right to LeMay, your team's leading attacker. She's able to get the point for Western Michigan.
Coach Munson talked about LeMay's ability to have that slide attack off of 1 foot that she just showed there. Mackenzie Kitchell, a kill for Ball State. 7-3. The Cardinals only lead by 4 now, and Western Michigan puts together 2 points. 3 points after the timeout by Coach Munson.
And this spot right here is where Ball State has struggled at times this season. They are really good about getting off to good starts, but that doesn't always result in a first set win, and that's because what you're seeing right now. Western Michigan calls timeout, and then they're able to get some few points back and get back in the match.
Good sell, goes down the line. We've mentioned that McAllen Kennedy is the starting setter tonight for Ball State, as opposed to Amber Seaman, who started for most of the season. McAllen Kennedy is a junior compared to Amber Seaman, who is only a freshman. Kennedy was in line to take place over Jenna Spadafora, who is the 2-year starter at that setter position for Ball State last season. And she moves on, but the freshman came in, Amber Seaman, and took Kennedy's role. But as we mentioned, Coach Kelly saying that they're going to ride the hot hand with Seaman, and Coach Kelly also mentioned that she doesn't want to replace Kennedy this weekend because that would mean that her team is playing in system.
Well, you want to be able to have a flow going, and when you have your leader of the offense at the setter position, you want that to be one constant person. You don't want to have to keep rotating, switching around. If you can get your team in a good rhythm with one setter, that's important.
Sydney Van Beek, just a tip is all she needed to put the Cardinals right back in that 6-point margin. Western Michigan struggling off the serve, and an attack into the net by Bailey Schnell.
A game of runs so far. Ball State got up 7-1. Western Michigan rattled off 3 in a row. Ball State was able to side out 4 of their own, and now it's the largest lead of the night.
LeMay collects one back on the Ball State lead. LeMay, as we mentioned, a middle blocker position-wise, but Coach Munson praised her for being able to play all positions. She's one of those players, very versatile, very hard worker, can rotate all 6 positions on the floor, even though she has that middle blocker tag.
She really reminds you a lot of Brooklyn Goodsell for Ball State. Can go all the way around, all 6 positions, and excels at all 3 positions up on the front row.
And LeMay can't block that one from Sydney Van Beek, her opposition at the middle blocker position.
Van Beek does a nice job of reading this. The pass wasn't, the setup there from Kennedy wasn't necessarily the best. She was able to adjust and put it right in between the 2 defenders.
12-5, Ball State once again ties their largest lead of the first set at 7. A block, and Van Beek got confused, started running back to get set.
Back to the service line, Sydney LeMay.
Sydney LeMay will get a look at her service now. The top attacker leads the Western Michigan team in kills. Murphy to Kofi, tipped out of bounds. Another 7-point lead for Ball State. We talked about it, have a sense of urgency. Coach Miller preached. Ball State came out with a sense of urgency, 7-1, before Coach Munson of Western Michigan had to take a timeout. And Ball State has held that lead. Lauren Schreiner back to serve, lining up about 10 feet behind the service line. Nice attack from Ware on the left side.
At the service line for Western is Mary Murphy.
Ware just a freshman, but averaging nearly 2 kills per set. Doing a nice job adjusting to the college game this year.
Ware, a freshman out of Glenbard West High School near Chicago, Illinois. Great dig in the back by Riley. Schnell has to set it. Ware can't handle the attack. We've seen Western Michigan already in set number 1, only 21 points in, get out of system often and having other people set the ball as opposed to their setter, Mary Murphy. Obviously not what you want out of a team when you talk about passing the ball to your setter off the get.
And that's some positives and negatives of being a team like Western Michigan who wants to play fast. You can catch the defense off guard a lot, but in return, you catch yourself off guard a lot, and sometimes the players that you want in certain positions aren't there, especially when your setter isn't there. That's never a good thing.
Murphy, the outside to Schnell with the tip. Kennedy to Mangapora, but she is blocked by 2 for Western Michigan. The Broncos crawling their way back into set number 1, cutting Ball State's lead to 5.
And that's the biggest key for Western Michigan on defense. Be able to send multiple blockers to the net and be physical against the Ball State attackers.
Off the touchdown.
Bosnick on the right side cuts the lead to 4. Western Michigan clearly not going away, even though they trailed early by 7. And a misplay by Lauren Schreiner in the back. Sydney Cheatham back serving for Western Michigan has sparked a run. Another timeout taken in set number 1. Kelly Miller, the first-year head coach, taking that timeout for Ball State as Western Michigan cuts the Ball State lead to 3. We'll take this time to check in with our sideline reporter, Allison Luthman.
Western Michigan coming back on the defensive end. In the beginning of the game, we saw Ball State come out very strongly. 3 of those starters for Ball State are actually freshmen or sophomore. They have a very young team all around. Head coach Kelly Miller is in her first year leading the program, and 11 of the 18 total players are underclassmen. Western Michigan is actually perfectly balanced between underclassmen and upperclassmen. Ball State's head coach Kelly Miller told us in the beginning of the year that a lot of the beginning of the season was about developing that talent in the younger players, and although that could be a little bit of a disadvantage, it will definitely pay off having so much of the team having that game experience all the way throughout their career.
Both of these coaches, thank you, Allison, have experience developing young talent. Western Michigan on their end definitely developed young talent, but Ball State, as Allison mentioned, a lot of young players getting a lot of playing time. One of those players is Kate Avila. The freshman is the only player on Ball State's team to play in every single set this season.
I think the job that Kelly Miller has done in developing these young freshmen and sophomores is extremely underrated. That's tough to do, to play in such a good conference like the MAC with that many underclassmen. They struggled early on, starting 0-9, but this is a team that's taken off since. And as we mentioned earlier, it's a team that has a chance to even earn themselves the 4 seed in the MAC tournament, which would give them a first-round bye. They've already clinched a spot in the tournament. The lowest they can be is the 6th seed.
Since starting 0-9 at the start of the regular season, Ball State is 12-7 in the last 19 games. That is the 4th best record among the Mid-American Conference. We mentioned that they have a chance to become the 4th seed if things play out this weekend and Toledo and Bowling Green would lose and Ball State would win both of their matches. Ball State a tough feat playing tomorrow against Northern Illinois, who has only lost 1 Mid-American Conference game. 4-point lead for Ball State, 16-12. Hannah Smith back, another freshman on this team. Murphy back set to LeMay. Lands on Ball State's side. LeMay was there just to touch it over with Avery DeVoe trying to contest. 16-13. Western Michigan leads in set 1. Double tap by McAllen Kennedy, the setter for Ball State. 2 points is all Ball State has now within their lead that once was 7.
This is the closest that it's been since 3-1 early in the set. Western Michigan on a run right now.
A block by Bailey Schnell on the left. Western Michigan didn't go away to start set number 1 and now crawling their way back in. Avila, the bump to Goodsell. Another dig from Western. LeMay has to bump it to Schnell, and a good opportunity for the Cardinals to capitalize. Maybe the longest rally we saw tonight ends in an out-of-bounds ball from attack from the back row. It was Alicia Bosnick.
And that entire possession was going Ball State's way. 4 or 5 attack opportunities, all of them hard hits at the net. Western Michigan was back on their heels and just had to send a few easy touches over the net. Advantage Ball State.
Sydney Van Beek in the middle. 10 kills last weekend against Akron in a 3-set match. Marked her career high. Getting in on the action, not letting Ball State lose this lead. 18-15 with Kate Avila serving. Kennedy, beautiful dig in the back. No one there to retrieve. Kennedy, not something that she's necessarily known for in the back row. Coach Kelly Miller said that she likes the blocking presence of McAllen Kennedy more than Amber Seaman, but Seaman is a better back row defender. Good sell, finally gets across that mark she had been attacking all set and finally gets her kill.
And there's not much more you could do if you're the Western Michigan defense. Set multiple blockers to the net on both Ball State attacks. Got the deflection on the first one, got on the second one as well, but it goes out of bounds.
Good sell, gets that service over, leads the team in service errors. There's an attacking error from Kiana Ware. Ball State 5 points away from taking set number 1. Something they did against Western Michigan in the first match of the season these two teams played against each other. Western Michigan won set 2 in that match on way to Ball State's 4-set victory. Misplayed by Ball State, Western Michigan cuts the lead right back to 3 with Sydney LeMay, their best attacker, back serving. Kennedy has to bump to Kitchell. Schnell long, argued for a tip and got it. Western Michigan points.
And just a nice set there to Schnell, who came up from the back row. Did a great job with the attack and sent it just off the fingertips of the Ball State defense.
That service long from LeMay. 21-18 with Lauren Schreiner and Sabrina Magnapora checking back in.
And if you're Ball State, this is exactly who you want back there serving. Lauren Schreiner, a serving specialist, has done a nice job all season long coming up and changes up the viewpoint for the defense. Just because she does not do a jump serve, she stands so much deeper, and it's just something that a defense isn't used to dealing with.
Gives a different angle on the ball, and that is proving why. And a great attacking opportunity for Ball State. Magnapora wanted a tip, but Western Michigan awarded with the point.
Mary Murphy is your server.
Mary Murphy, the setter for Western Michigan to serve. Van Beek in the middle, very quick attack, goes down.
The improvement that Van Beek has made this season is just tremendous. She's done a nice job. At the beginning of the year through non-conference play, she barely played at all, didn't have much time at all. And now you see her throughout the rest of this season getting more and more confident in herself in her freshman season. The MAC West Offensive Player of the Week right now after a career-high 10 kills a week ago.
Sydney Van Beek, a player that Coach Kelly Miller talked about this week a lot, and said that Van Beek was dealing with nagging injuries earlier on in the season, and it caused her to miss some practice early on in the season, and she never seemed to get in a rhythm earlier on. And now that she is fully healthy and has been for the past few weeks, she's been able to practice consistently, and that's what's been the biggest difference with her consistency on the court. Western Michigan cuts Ball State's lead to 1, 22-20. A timeout from Kelly Miller, the first-year head coach for Ball State. Both of these teams fighting for seeding. Western Michigan slotted right now at the 8th position in the MAC tournament. Ball State, on the other hand, slotted in at the number 6 position because they lose the tiebreaker with Toledo and Bowling Green, who also contain an 8-6 Mid-American Conference record. Ball State has a chance to get all the way up to the 4th seed, which would give them a first-round bye. Kelly Miller said that was so important getting that first-round bye because these teams have not played 4 matches in 4 days all season, and that's what they would have to do if they don't get a bye.
Well, it's extremely important to be able to get that first round bye because it's just one less match that you have to play as you have a look at the standings right here. But Ball State really, it's important to win this one, get a win against a very good Northern Illinois team tomorrow, a chance to get that first round bye. That's something that a lot of teams, 7 teams in fact, are trying to play for right now.
And those records we're heading into this weekend. Ball State is 8-6 in the Mid-American Conference. Kent State was 7-7 on that graphic, but actually just lost last night in their match, which helps Ball State solidify the 6th seed if they were to lose the 2 matches this weekend. But Ball State not looking to do that either. 23-21. They lead by 2 early in set 1. Rather late in set 1.
Avery DeVoe, that's already 5 kills. We're not even through set 1 yet. Her career high is 11.
Avery DeVoe and Sydney Van Beek, the 2 middle blockers, key in the Ball State offense. Avery DeVoe with 5 kills early. Sydney Van Beek contributing. Avery DeVoe had 0 kills last matchup against Western Michigan, and already 5 in set 1 with set point for Ball State. A block by Avery DeVoe, fitting for her dominance in the first set. Ball State takes set number 1, 25-21. On their way to solidify themselves as one of the top seeds in the Mid-American Conference Tournament next weekend. We'll have set 2 next on ESPN3. Back in Worthen Arena, 25-21. The Ball State Cardinals take set number 1 over the Western Michigan Broncos. Both of these teams fighting for Mid-American Conference tournament seeding. We've mentioned Ball State has a chance to get all the way up to seed 4, which would give them a first-round bye. Kelly Miller said that's so important because none of these teams have played 4 matches in 4 days, which is what you have to do. Western Michigan did it a few years ago when they won the Mid-American Conference Tournament, came all the way from a 5 seed, beat Ball State on their way in 2014 when Colleen Munson won the MAC Coach of the Year that season for this Western Michigan program. Ball State got a lot of contribution from Sydney Van Beek and Avery DeVoe in the middle in that first set. Ball State faces off versus Northern Illinois tomorrow. 12-1 within the Mid-American Conference, a very tough opponent, and Coach Kelly Miller said you have to play absolutely perfect because Northern Illinois plays fast, they play efficient, and you can't beat a team like that with having mistakes within sets. You have to come out with a sense of urgency.
And Northern Illinois won their first 11 conference matches of the season. The only one that they've lost has been against Miami, the other team who's only lost one match in conference. So those two teams leading the East Division and the West Division respectively. And that's something where you don't want to look forward past this one because tonight is important as well. But if Ball State's able to knock off Northern Illinois, they're heading into that MAC tournament on a tear.
And Northern Illinois, such a fast-tempo team. Kelly Miller said that they play with so much emphasis. Coach Goodson there just continues to stress, and they continue to cycle out. Van Beek with the kill. 1-0 in set number 2. And Ball State saw Northern Illinois earlier in the season. And Coach Kelly Miller said that she didn't think that her young players expected how fast that Northern Illinois plays. It's a lot different from normal teams.
And Northern Illinois has always played that way just because that's Coach Gooden's style. He's been there 15 years now at Northern Illinois, and you get a lot of the same thing year in and year out from Northern Illinois, and it's just they play fast, and it's always a team that's super talented.
Kelly Miller said you get a sigh of relief when one player leaves Northern Illinois, and then you realize that they just have players cycling out every single year, and that's why they are so talented, is because of the recruiting classes they bring in.
They're always known as a team who's very experienced, but if you look at the team as a whole, they have a lot of young players as well, so they're able to develop them from freshmen, play them 3 or 4 years, and that's what makes them so good. They're experienced, but it's because by the time they get there, they've been under Coach Gooden's system for 3 or 4 years.
And that's what Ball State's trying to develop into a program like Northern Illinois, which is a bit of the standard within the Mid-American Conference. And you have players like Brooklyn Goodsell and Kate Avila, Amber Seaman, freshmen and sophomores that are key contributors on Ball State's team. There's another one, Sydney Van Beek, who goes cross-court with the kill. And Ball State has almost increased their recruiting classes, getting players like Brooklyn Goodsell, who was a first-team All-American in high school.
This Ball State team has a couple All-Americans, as well as Brooklyn Goodsell. There's Emily Holland as well, or Ellie Dunn, excuse me, the other All-American. But it's a team that we talked about Northern Illinois, how they've built. That's exactly what Ball State's trying to do. 11 freshmen or sophomores on this Ball State roster, starting them young, getting them into games early on in their career. And you look down a couple of years from now, this is going to be a really, really talented and experienced team.
And that's what makes Kelly Miller so excited about this Ball State program taking over in her first season, is the depth and the young talent that they have, and developing that young talent. Earlier on, when Amber Seaman was the freshman setter, I think a lot of fans around Ball State women's volleyball saw the future with Amber Seaman to Brooklyn Goodsell and Ellie Dunn and Sydney Van Beek, all freshmen and sophomores, underclassmen, getting most of the work done for the program. Now you see McAllen Kennedy as the setter for this match. She is a junior, and that'll be an interesting development within the Mid-American Conference Tournament, which setter goes for Ball State, because Amber Seaman played most of the season, and McAllen Kennedy, the hot hand as of late. Kelly Miller stated this weekend they're going to try and ride the hot hand.
Well, and I think that's what you should do. And as long as Kennedy has a solid weekend, that's who you have to go with into the MAC tournament, because you don't want to be switching setters again. It's been a few weeks since Amber Seaman has played a lot of volleyball, and you don't want to go into your conference tournament when it's a do or die night in and night out. One loss, your season's done. You can't be going into that type of match with somebody who hasn't played in 2 or 3 weeks.
The block at the net from 2 Ball State defenders. Avery DeVoe in on that play. She has been all over the place for Ball State within sets 1 and now the start of set 2, with Ball State 5-4 lead. Schnell's attack saved by Hannah Smith in the back. Murphy to Schnell again. Another save from Smith. And no longer a 4-hit violation on Ball State's side. Bailey Schnell of Western Michigan, a sophomore for the Broncos, was another player that was a All-American honorable mention. We talked about Brooklyn Goodsell and Ellie Dunn for Ball State, but the Mid-American Conference has done well recruiting in the past few seasons. Schnell already showing her impact tonight for the Broncos. The ball travels out of bounds to give Western Michigan their first lead of the match, 6-5 in set number 2.
Just a tough break there for DeVoe. She had a good thought on the attack, but the ball bounced off the top of the net, and that's why it traveled out of bounds.
A kill for Western Michigan increases the lead 7-5 in set number 2. Bailey Schnell out of Roncalli High School, tied with a season-high 15 kills just last match against Eastern Michigan. That's Mackenzie Kitchell. Not a young talent person on this Ball State team. She's a senior.
And she's been the leader by example and being a vocal leader. She hasn't necessarily had the numbers that you would want as a senior when you look down at the stat line. But we talked to Kelly Miller about Mackenzie Kitchell, and she said she's the vocal leader, she's the most organized, she knows where others need to be, and that's what makes her so special to this Ball State team.
Mackenzie Kitchell, Kelly Miller said she is always trying to improve, even in her senior year. With senior night just tomorrow against Northern Illinois in Worthen Arena, she kept asking all week, Kelly Miller, what can I do to improve? What can I do to play better? Kelly Miller said her playing time was inconsistent in the middle of the year, but Kitchell handled it like a professional.
And I think where if you're looking at Mackenzie Kitchell, the thing that she needs to do to improve upon that is just be more consistent. She's somebody you talked about, it struggled at the beginning of the year, and the reason that she got not necessarily benched but saw her playing time decrease a little bit after the beginning of the year is because she was inconsistent with her passing. That's where she struggled. You see that has gotten better over the past few weeks, and now you're seeing Mackenzie Kitchell back to being a regular in this Ball State lineup.
Kitchell there attempting to block, but the attack sails long. 9-7, Ball State responds with a 4-0 run after they were trailing by 2, with Kate Avila back to serve. Murphy with the bump into the back row. Hard attack from the back. It's Bailey Schnell. 9-8, Ball State leads by 1. Sydney LeMay, the 6'3" junior, back to serve. Kennedy is set to Kitchell and a push over. A save from Kitchell, but out of bounds on the other side. Kitchell, a player that maybe has benefited from McAllen Kennedy switching to that setter position because of the experience. Kennedy and Kitchell have played on this Ball State team for 3 years together, rather than that young talent that we were talking about that only has 1 or 2 years of experience with Kennedy.
Well, Corey, that's exactly it right there. It's just the experience that those two have had together and being comfortable. Kennedy, a junior, Kitchell, a senior. You said it, they've been together 3 years. They know each other's tendencies. They know how each other likes to play, whereas Amber Seaman coming in as a freshman, she doesn't necessarily know about these juniors or seniors, and she has been able to build with her freshmen incoming, as well as the young sophomores like Ellie Dunn, Brooklyn Goodsell, Emily Holland.
Western Michigan's attack sails long after Western Michigan initially thought it was their point. All tied at 10 in a back and forth set number 2. An ace from Brooklyn Goodsell puts Ball State up 1. After taking set number 1, Western Michigan has to respond in set 2 with the fear of losing in 3 sets. On the other hand, Ball State maybe wants to get out of here early tonight in a 3-set victory because they have a very tough opponent in Northern Illinois tomorrow. Murphy, quick set over. Van Beek and DeVoe, rather Van Beek and Kennedy combine on that attack, just touching it right back. 2-point lead for Ball State as the Cardinals looking to pick up a match victory with the possibility of jumping all the way to the 4 seed in the Mid-American Conference Tournament. Western Michigan, on the other hand, just trying to stay in the Mid-American Conference Tournament with the fear of other teams passing them up with tie-breaking situations. And just receiving word that Northern Illinois is up 1-0 in their match against Toledo. So Ball State, important for them to continue to ride this momentum that has them up 14-10, because Northern Illinois may be a rested team coming in tomorrow.
And Northern Illinois has a lot to play for, and you wouldn't necessarily think that with a 13-1 conference record. They've had a spot locked up for the last 2 weeks for the MAC tournament, but that #1 seed in the tournament is still on the line. Miami, the other team that's 13-1. The higher the seeding, the better, obviously. Northern Illinois fighting for that regular season conference championship.
McAllen Kennedy, the quick hit over, 15-10. Ball State leads by 5. 15-10, and Ball State looking to take their second set of this match. We'll have more set number 2 action. I repeated myself and said 15-10.
Yeah. Do you want anything from him right now, or are you good?
I'm good. Charlie Cardinal may have to give back that ESPN mic here soon, but for now he can dance along with it as the Ball State Cardinals are dancing 15-10 in set number 2. After taking set number 1, 25-21. Ball State looking to get some well-needed rest and possibly winning this match in 3 sets as they are on their way to a set number 2 victory. Will put them in great position. Good sell into the net. She leads this team with service errors. One of the give and take situations of volleyball. If you have a good server that produces with service aces, most likely she is also going to produce service errors. Good save from the Cardinals, sends a free ball over to Western Michigan. Back row attack from Schnell. Miscommunication between Avila and Kitchell. Both of them get up all right. But a 3-point lead now for Ball State as Western Michigan responds out of the timeout with 2 points.
That's just one of those. Kitchell thought Avila had it. Avila thought Kitchell had it. They both looked at each other last minute, tried to dive after it, a little bit too late.
A point awarded to Ball State after an into-the-net violation on Western Michigan. Kate Avila, the freshman libero of Yorktown, Indiana, put into a great situation at Ball State with Coach Kelly Miller, a former libero at Purdue University. And Kate Avila in her freshman year has played every single set for the Cardinals, produced as the #7 ranked Mid-American Conference libero in digs per set.
And she's somebody that head coach Kelly Miller has talked about and said she's not flashy. She's everything you expect out of a libero, and she plays ahead of her years. You would never guess looking out there on the floor that Kate Avila is a freshman, but she also said, we lost the first 9 matches of the season, then we went on a roll, and without Kate Avila, we don't win very many of those matches.
Kate Avila has developed into that defensive leader, Coach Kelly Miller said, and she has really taken that role as a freshman. 26 double-digit dig performances this season out of 28 matches. The hometown kid from Yorktown, Indiana, takes a seat to watch her teammates. And Avery DeVoe doesn't disappoint. 18-13. Ball State a 5-point lead in set number 2. The Cardinals looking to go up 2 sets in this match. Kofi was there, but to no avail. An ace from Carly Capello, a sophomore on this Ball State team, responding in her first action of the night. Her 5th ace on the season. 19-13. Ball State 6-point advantage late in set number 2 after taking set number 1. We'll take this break to send to our sideline reporter, Allison Luthman.
Taking a bit of a look around the MAC scores tonight, Bowling Green is up 1-0 to Buffalo, and as Corey said earlier, Toledo has fallen 0-1 to Northern Illinois. What this means for Ball State is that we are tied with Bowling Green for the 6th seed in the MAC tournament. Also right now, Western Michigan is leading Ball State's in digs 42-30, which is a bit surprising considering that Ball State statistically leads the MAC in digs and digs per set. That, of course, being led by freshman Amber Seaman, who leads the team, followed by sophomore Brooklyn Goodsell. They are both 2 of 3 Cardinals who have over 200 digs for the season so far.
Thank you, Allison. And we just talked about Kate Avila and her success as a freshman at that libero position, and she's got plenty of mentors along the way. Her coach at Yorktown, Stephanie Bloom, who is a former Ball State libero, and she is first in Ball State history in digs per set. So couldn't have been a better situation for these defensive-minded players coming into Ball State.
And Avila just took over for Katie Vasilakis, that libero position last year. Vasilakis also from Yorktown. She was a 3-year starter. Yorktown as a program, extremely good program. They just won the state tournament at the 2A level that was hosted right here in Worthen Arena last weekend.
Carly Capello, the 2nd ace in a row. Kofi ends that run very quickly and with an emphatic attack in the middle. 20-14, Ball State pulling away in set number 2. Although the Kofi attack went down for a kill, Ball State on track at the moment to go up 2 sets to none in this match. Schnell's attack is long. Great job by Sabrina Magnapora in the back to signal that out.
And if you're Ball State here, going a little bit of a run, if you can close this one out here very quickly, Ball State has a 2-0 lead heading in to the break. 2-0 at home, a chance to put away Western Michigan.
They put Western Michigan away in 4 sets. Last time these 2 teams met, Brooklyn Goodsell's attack blocked at the net. Both of these teams, so much history within their program. Western Michigan, the #1 team within the Mid-American Conference and Mid-American Conference winning percentage. Ball State is 2nd. Murphy back set to LeMay, a tip, and Avila can't come from the back row. 21-16. Ball State's lead is now only 5. Kennedy in the middle to Goodsell. Quick hit from Murphy. A scramble, Cheatham saves it for Western Michigan. What a save. Ball State back on the attack. This time, Magnapora won't let that happen again.
And that's a nice job by Manga Porta. Very experienced in her junior season, was able to put that one away. Western Michigan was able to rattle off a couple points, get themselves back in the set, but just like that, Ball State takes the momentum back.
Hannah Smith back to serve for Ball State, the freshman from Selma, Indiana. Ball State 3 points away from closing out this set, and a great save by Goodsell and Avila. LeMay doesn't get over the net. 23-16. Another timeout by Western Michigan head coach Colleen Munson. Using her timeouts early in this match because she's afraid that this match may be getting away. 23-16, Ball State leads in set number 2. Ball State capitalized in set number 1, 21-25. And Ball State did that with what they've been preaching all week, coming out with a sense of urgency as they led early in set 1, 7-1. And now, in the midway point in set number 2, they pull away.
And Ball State is coming off of a match just last weekend against Akron where they won in 3 straight sets. They have a chance to do that again tonight as well. They're playing some of their best volleyball as we are heading towards the MAC tournament, and that's extremely important for a team that's so young like the Cardinals are.
Colleen Munson, the 12th year head coach for Western Michigan, a storied coach for this program. Before this season, where they've had a bit of a down year at 10-17 on the year, she was the top coach in Western Michigan history for winning percentage, but because of this season has actually fallen in second place. Not too bad. 23-16, Ball State 2 points away from a set number 2 victory to go up in the match 2-0. Kennedy set to Kitchell, and she never eyed it as she had to adjust midair.
And that was the problem. It was just not a very good set from Kennedy over to Kitchell. Kitchell had to adjust while in the air, was unable to fully get over to the ball.
Kitchell, a senior on this Ball State team, tore her ACL 2 seasons ago, battled back. Coach Miller said that she's so proud of Mackenzie Kitchell, the way she's battled injuries and continued that positive attitude. 24-17, Ball State leads by 7 in set number 2. They have 7 set points. Kate Avila to serve. Murphy to LeMay, saved by Avila. Ball State in system, a bump from Smith. A scramble for the ball and a free ball back over to the Broncos. Great dig from Avila. This could end it. Goodsell, right side into the blockers. Point Western Michigan.
A good rally back and forth, and Ball State was just able to keep it up and alive. A few nice digs back there from Avila and Smith as well.
Still 6 chances to end set number 2 for Ball State. Kennedy to Kitchell. Off the blocker and down. 25-18. The Ball State Cardinals take the 2-set lead over Western Michigan. Allie Luthman will be back with the halftime report after this break. I felt good. Did you?
Yeah.
Congratulations to Larry Petrone, CA marketing staff member at the bottom of the aisle.
Okay. What camera am I looking at? Where? All right, guys, welcome back to Ball State Volleyball versus the Western Michigan University. We're now 2-0 on the match. We're going to take a look at the latest SL feature story produced by Ball State SportsLink, featuring football player Peyton Stonefield, who right before starting football camp ended his first Marine camp.
Okay, so back in this room, students have a short dance routine prepared for us.
Someone who, like me, who can do something and who has a choice to, and I feel like it's my obligation almost. I'm willing and able to fight, and why not fight for my country and, you know, to give a little back to something that I love so much. It came down to walking down to Ball State or going to a smaller Division III school, you know, playing a lot. But, you know, I like the challenge. You know, I like, you know, people thinking I can't do something, you know, trying to prove them wrong. So Ball State's been in my family. My dad went here, my mom. I have a lot of ties to this university, and, you know, I love everything about it. So I always wanted to go in the military. I knew, you know, for a long time. The Marines appealed to me in my freshman year in college here when I found out that if you pass the Marine OCS, since it's one of the hardest trainings in the country for the officers, that you get direct admit into flight school.
And when he had the opportunity this summer to go and to train, to me it was a no-brainer, because I think in the longevity and the service of our country, that's so much more important than just, hey, being here and training for 8 weeks.
You just learn the military life, discipline, and then you learn how to really lead, how to lead people, you know, how to, you know, find new ways of doing things, how to accomplish things that you never thought you could ever do. They have a really high attrition rate. It's usually around 1 out of every 4 don't make it. It's a whole different training. You know, I thought with football training, you know, I thought I had the leg up on everybody, but I mean, it was completely different. I was probably one of the heaviest there at about 210, and here on the football team, you know, 210's nothing. It's pretty light. Sleep deprivation, you think you can handle it, you know, think you, oh, I've stayed up all nighters doing tests, but doing it every day for 10 straight weeks, you know, going to bed at 10 o'clock at night, waking up at 3 a.m. every morning, you know, it takes a toll on your body. You really can't recover. But honestly, it was the hardest thing I've ever done in my life. And looking back on it, I'm so glad I did it. Just kind of growing up, I've always, you know, have a no-quit attitude, walking on a football team. You know, everyone's going to be either bigger, faster, stronger than you, and you just got to say, you know, I'm not going to quit no matter what. And there's kind of the same attitude. You know, I just told myself, I'm not going to go home. The only way I'm going to go home is if, you know, I break both my legs or they end up just making me go.
Get in the pro! Yell set! Set!
It makes you grow into a man because you're there to lead people. And, you know, if you're goofing around, you're acting childish, you know, who's going to follow that? I want to be the guy who people look up to and say, follow that guy. He's got it going on.
Let's go walk up every 3 to 5 seconds as you need to. Yep, keep that Kevlar down.
I graduated August 6th, and a football camp started August 3rd. So I was home for just about a day. You know, had my family, had a little welcome home party, and I went back straight to here actually. But the biggest thing I kind of felt with you know, coming straight to football, I lost a bunch of weight, as you can imagine, running in boots and uniform the whole time, and then coming back here and trying to, you know, take on 300-pound linemen is a lot different.
He tries, he puts so much great effort into it. So I knew him coming back from summer training, and he was going to put so much effort into it.
The rest of the football season is, for me, to bring the younger guys along. As the season goes on and the seniors have less and less games left, the younger guys become more and more important.
Going through the things that he's gone through in his training, he understands what it takes to pull other guys along, to make sure they're doing the things that are right.
Joined the military, you know, officer candidate school, going through that struggle. You know, in my future, I'm sure I'm going to be miserable plenty of times in some far-off land. You know, and I just kind of like embrace it. You know, I embrace the grind. You know, I hate taking the easy way. I would rather take the difficult way and, you know, reap the benefits.
When it comes to Peyton, he can put his mind in another place. He can do things physically that maybe his body is telling him not to do, but his mind is telling him that he can do.
After I graduate, I'll go back to Quantico, Virginia for TBS, which is called the Basic School, and it's they call it the finest finishing school in the world. And I'll go there for 6 months and kind of finish up my skills. The sacrifice of people who gave to my country, through the wars they fought, many times they were drafted into it. They didn't have a choice. And someone who, like me, who can do something and who has a choice too, and I feel like it's my obligation almost. I'm willing and able to fight. Why not fight for my country and give a little back to something that I love so much.
We're at a set score of 2-1 Ball State. We're going to take a quick break, but right when we're back, we'll take a preview of Ball State's Out of the Shadows. We're at a set score of 2-0 Ball State.
Yeah, it was a 3-2 loss to
Okay, Caitlin, what's going on?
Hey, we have 90 seconds.
We're heading into set 3 of Ball State women's volleyball versus Western Michigan. Ball State is winning 2-0. Right now, the Ball State men's basketball team is starting their first regular season game against Northern Illinois, against their in St. Louis tonight. Now, their season show, Ball State Out of the Shadows, produced by Ball State Sports League, premieres on November 27th. It's a 2-time Student Emmy Award-winning show, giving you exclusive access to features, interviews, and behind the scenes of the men's basketball team. We're going to take a look at Sydney Van Beek, freshman volleyball player for Ball State. I'm really sorry, that was bad.
Thank you. Thank you, Allison. And jumping right into set number 3. Ball State took sets 1 and 2. Olivia Kofi comes out with some conviction for Western Michigan for the first point. During that break between sets 2 and 3, a bit longer than the other breaks between sets, Mary Murphy, the setter for Western Michigan, out on the floor, practicing just her sets forward and back with 2 coaches. Not a normality that you see setters come out in between that break and practice any of their craft.
Well, I think it was more so because she was a little bit frustrated with herself, especially towards the end of that second set. Had some errant passes, had some times where she didn't set up her attackers very well, and it then led to Ball State points because of the attacking errors.
Keep an eye on Mary Murphy, the setter for Western Michigan in sets 3. Maybe the extra practice within that set number 2 and 3 break has helped out. Western Michigan jumps out to an early 3-1 lead. Their first time that they've jumped out to this type of lead early in a set. Ball State trying to close out this set in 3. Northern Illinois facing Toledo. Last time we heard, they were up 1-0, so they had still the chance of finishing off early and getting some extra rest. They also have the drive from Toledo to Muncie before their night concludes. 4-1, Western Michigan comes out early with a 3-point lead. Kathleen Riley, the libero, back. Great save by Riley in the back. Kennedy to Goodsell, cross court, saved by Murphy. A bump to Bosnick is blocked at the net by Ellie Dunn, who we have not seen much tonight, but started set number 3 for Ball State.
And Dunn now going to the bench, but just making her presence known right away. Multiple blockers at the net for Ball State, directly into the hands of Ellie Dunn.
Ellie Dunn has seen a bit of inconsistent playing time within the past few weeks. Only had 1 set played against Akron as Western Michigan extends their lead. But Ellie Dunn, the biggest issue with her is just the consistency attacking. Her attacking percentage is often 100 or below. Last season, she actually had a below 100 attacking percentage within MAC play.
Well, that's the reason, Corey, for her playing time being inconsistent. It's because on the floor at times she's inconsistent, and that's what Kelly Miller talked about a couple weeks ago when she was leading the way. She had a career high 22 kills a couple weeks ago, and that's because she was being more consistent. Kelly Miller talked about how she was being more physical at the net, and you've seen her shy away from that a couple times. Instead of meeting the blockers at the net, she shied away and tried to attack backwards, and when she does that, she's vulnerable of going into the defenders and getting blocked.
On a positive note, Ellie Dunn did have 2 kills on 3 attacks for a hitting percentage of over 600 against Akron in the 1 set that she did play. But as you mentioned, a few weeks back, 22 kills against Kent State. And since then, Coach Kelly Miller challenged her to keep that consistency and needing that from her on a consistent basis for this team to thrive, because they have Brooklyn Goodsell on one side and Ellie Dunn would add so much at the other outside hitter position. 6-4, Western Michigan takes the early lead and continues to rule in set number 3 after dropping sets 1 and 2. Michaela Riccitello checks in for the first time for Western Michigan, a transfer from Wyoming. Has seen 91 sets this season, and a kill from Brooklyn Goodsell gives Ball State only a 1-point deficit.
And this is where Ball State has to be careful, because we've seen this a couple times already this season where they've gone up 2 sets to nothing, and then the other team has battled back, and they even lost going up 2-0 one time, 3-2. But we've also seen it a couple times where Ball State goes up 2-0. The opponent comes back and forces a 5th set. And if you're Ball State, that's the last thing you want right now. We've talked about Northern Illinois coming to town tomorrow, the best team in the conference for the regular season finale. If you can win in 3 tonight and get rested up, that's a good chance going into that match against Northern Illinois.
Ball State only has 3 sweeps. It is 3-set victories on the season. All of them have come within Mid-American Conference play against Bowling Green, Buffalo, and Akron. Akron was just last weekend, where Ball State actually has won 5 consecutive sets dating back to that match against Akron. The match before, they lost to Toledo in 5.
And you can say right now that Ball State's arguably playing their best volleyball of the season. You said it, the 5 straight set wins, a chance to make it 6 going into that match against Northern Illinois. And as you know, when you want to be playing your best ball of the season, it's right before the conference tournament.
Coach Kelly Miller talked about that, and that's all that they want heading into next weekend, is playing their best volleyball. They think this weekend with Northern Illinois, the test that they bring tomorrow would provide a huge test going into the Mid-American Conference tournament, because they get maybe the best team coming into Worthen Arena before they head into the MAC tournament, where they'll be facing other very valuable Mid-American Conference opponents. But a 3-set victory tonight for Ball State would surely give them a little bit of extra rest with Northern Illinois coming in tomorrow.
And with Northern Illinois coming here tomorrow, Ball State has a few things to shore up, and one of those is, I think, the physicality at the net, both offensively and defensively. You've seen them shy away from it attacking, and then defensively, Ball State usually has multiple blockers to the net to make it hard for the opponent to have to make them adjust in midair, and you've seen a few times tonight, Ball State's only getting one blocker to the net.
And Dunn and Avila can't combine to put that one back on Ball State's side. Western Michigan, their largest lead of the match is at 3. 10-7 here in set 3. Ellie Dunn, a reception error on the serve. We talked about that consistency, and Dunn showing there in her passing. Again, a miss hit in the back row. Dunn pushes it into the blockers, or she thought. Western Michigan doesn't touch, and the Broncos awarded with the points. 12-7, Western Michigan creating an early lead in set 3 after dropping sets 1 and 2. Western Michigan looks to respond and continue in set 3 to come back in this match in Worthen Arena.
Merchants is open for business.
12-7 in set number 3. Western Michigan leads, although Ball State was able to take sets 1 and 2. Coach Kelly Miller has to have made some adjustments within the timeout, which was awarded as the media timeout right off the bat. Olivia Kofi in the middle blocks Ellie Dunn.
But that was a good attack there from Ellie Dunn. I talked about it a couple points ago, how she sometimes shies away from the net and tries to attack off the back foot. That time she went directly into it, attacked at the net, but just Western Michigan had a couple blockers there.
Western Michigan's defense has shored up. Kofi there with the push. 7-point lead for Western Michigan after dropping the first 2 sets. The Broncos come out in set number 3 with a roar. Again in system, that's Schnell on the left. A block at the net for Western Michigan. Has a free ball over from the Cardinals. Schnell able to lace it down the line. Coach Kelly Miller looking to make some adjustments. Sabrina Magnapora coming in. 8-point lead for Western Michigan. The difference has been on the defensive end, not letting Ball State get any easy opportunities.
Well, it's obvious that Coach Munson made some halftime adjustments, and they're just being a lot more aggressive on the defensive side, as you said, Corey. Multiple blockers at the net, not allowing it to be easy for the Ball State attackers. When Ball State attackers can go one-on-one, that's advantage Ball State every time, because the height advantage that they have against most teams, including Western Michigan tonight. But it's different when you set more than one blocker there. 2, sometimes 3 from Western Michigan. That's been the difference in this set compared to the first 2.
Western Michigan comes into this weekend on a hot streak, although the first 2 sets didn't show that. Western Michigan last weekend got a 3-set win against Central Michigan, a 4-set win against Eastern Michigan. Both of those matches were at home. Now traveling on the road, where they are 1-9 this season. but right now battling back well on the road in a tough environment. 16-9 after the Ball State point. Mackenzie Kitchell checks in, and immediately you see encouraging her team at the net and clapping Avery DeVoe. Schnell with the power attack on the left. 8-point lead right back to the Broncos.
Schnell is so predictable because she never goes with the finesse. It's always a hard attack, but she's got it going tonight. Ball State's defense hasn't been able to stop her.
Avery DeVoe, hard attack in the middle, but sails wide. 9-point lead for Western Michigan. Another timeout by Ball State. (18-9), Western Michigan leads in set 3. (18-9). Western Michigan is pulling away in set 3. After dropping the first 2 sets, you thought maybe Ball State would get some extra rest with Northern Illinois coming in tomorrow, one of the best teams in the MAC. But Western Michigan has other plans, now going up 10.
Well, that's exactly it. Just like Ball State has a lot to play for, Western Michigan does as well. They're holding on to that 8th and final seed in the MAC tournament. This is the final weekend of regular season play. Western Michigan, to keep their hopes alive, have to be able to win one. Have to be able to win at least one, but if they can win both, then they would hold the tiebreaker and they would automatically get in with that 8th and final seed.
It would take a pretty remarkable comeback from Ball State here in set number 3 that maybe Coach Miller is eyeing her focus towards set number 4. Another error from the service line for Ball State. It was Kate Avila, the libero. A 10-point lead for Western Michigan. Ball State trailing 20-10 right now. Ball State's worst set loss is 25-11 versus Ohio earlier this year. Western Michigan flirting with that. 11-point lead for the Broncos as Richatello, who just checked in, is even getting in on the action.
This is a completely different Western Michigan team in the 3rd set that we saw in the first 2. It was a team that was laid back, not very aggressive, not attacking the net hard, and that's been completely different. You haven't seen any of Western Michigan from the first 2 sets here in the 3rd. It's been all aggression at the net, both offensively and defensively, and that's why it's leading to a 10-point lead for the Broncos.
We mentioned early on in set number 3 that Mary Murphy came out and practiced her sets during the break between sets 2 and 3, and it seems to be showing as they have continued to get in system offensively, gotten good looks for their outside hitters and middle blockers. Speaking of middle blockers, Sydney LeMay, their best back serving. Kitchell blocked. Murphy to Kofi. Everything is at the net for Western Michigan, 23-11. It seems as though Western Michigan is not letting anything get in the back row. 23-11, a 12-point lead. Kennedy mixes it up, and it drops down in the middle of the court. Ball State at this point looking ahead to set 4, trying not to let this become a 5-set thriller.
And that's the biggest thing at this point with Western Michigan up 11 so late. It's don't allow them to get on a run. Don't allow them to take all the momentum. If you're Ball State, try to get back in this one, get some momentum heading into the 4th set.
Richatello, a powerful attack, saved by Ball State. Another to Richatello, another powerful attack. 24-12. Western Michigan with 12 set points. A team that looked down and out in sets 1 and 2 is now dominating set 3 over the Cardinals in Ball State's home. Richatello, a push. 25-12, Western Michigan takes set 3, and we will have a set 4. Ball State looking to respond next on ESPN3.
Good.
All Western Michigan in set 3, 25-12 after Ball State took the first 2 sets. Western Michigan responded. Not the first time these two teams have faced off this season. A rematch from the October 8th match where Ball State won in 4 sets. That was at Western Michigan. Ellie Dunn, Sabrina Magnapora, and Brooklyn Goodsell had a huge night at that outside hitter position. But from that point, Ball State has become more versatile offensively and have used the middle blockers some more. But each set in that match on October 8th was very close. Today it's been a different story. Only one set, 25-21, was the closest set that we've had, and that was 4 points Ball State's favor.
It's been a match of runs so far through the first 3 sets. It's been Ball State back and forth, Ball State and Western Michigan that first set, but even within that first set, it was teams going back and forth, scoring 3, 4, 5 points in a row. It just went back and forth. In set 2, it was all Ball State. Set 3, all Western Michigan. Got a lead early and didn't look back.
And during that match, it was Amber Seaman setting for the Ball State Cardinals. So a different look with McAllen Kennedy, the setter for Ball State. What changed from sets 2 to sets 3 for Western Michigan to pull away so heavily, 25-12?
It was the halftime adjustments that Coach Munson made. The aggression, it was where Western Michigan was at in set 3. You didn't see anything in set 1 and 2 of them being physical at the net, them attacking the ball hard. It was a lot of finesse stuff. The adjustments were made. They paid off for set number 3 because of the aggression that Western Michigan brought. I would expect much of the same. Now it's time for Ball State to have to make adjustments and answer to Western Michigan.
Ball State has to make adjustments a tad more on the fly, with less breaks, not getting the opportunity to go back to the locker room as Coach Kelly Miller cheers on her players before the first point of set number 4. The ball lands on the line, and Western Michigan takes the first point of set 4. Ball State thought they were possibly getting out of this match early tonight, and in preparation and getting extra rest for Northern Illinois, one of the best teams in the Mid-American Conference coming in tomorrow, but instead, Western Michigan has responded. Kennedy to Van Beek in the middle. Van Beek was quiet in set 3. Now the set to Magnapura. Nice rally between these two teams. Schnell in the back to Schreiner. 2-0 Western Michigan to start off set 4.
The play of Ball State since set 2 into 3 and now into set 4 has been completely different than what we saw in the first 2. They were aggressive at the net. Now they're much more laid back. There's nobody being physical there. A lot of attacks from Ball State is coming off the back foot, just sending free balls over to Western Michigan. The Broncos making the Cardinals pay for it.
It seems as though Ball State not getting anything easy. Sydney Van Beek records her career high 11th kill. She just set a career high last match against Eastern Michigan, rather Akron, with 10 in a 3-set victory. This time had the opportunity to have 4 sets and now has 11 on the night. Schnell, powerful attack, dug up by Schreiner. In the middle to LeMay. A free ball back over from Ball State. Murphy to LeMay, a tip, pancake dig, although the head judge rules otherwise.
A good rally. A good rally back and forth. Western Michigan has gone with the powerful attack at the net. That time just a tap over in between the front line and the back line of the Ball State defense.
On that look, very close. Brooklyn Goodsell almost getting the hand down. 3-2. Western Michigan leads by 1 in set number 4. A little more confidence in Ball State as Western Michigan got out to a very early lead in set 3, which propelled them to a 25-12 victory. 4-2 Broncos after that kill. Kate Avila, the intricate part of the defense for Ball State, not able to dig it up. With Bailey Schnell, the 2014 high school Under Armour All-American honorable mention. Sabrina Magnapura gets in on the action to cut Ball State's deficit to 1.
And when Ball State's struggling like they are right now, Kennedy elects to go over to her veteran leader, and Sabrina Magnapura goes cross-court, gets the kill.
Magnapura has been there, done that before. Goodsell, a free ball over. LeMay, powerful attack, dug up by Kennedy. Another try for LeMay, this one blocked by DeVoe and Kitchell.
Just what Ball State needed right now was a big play on the defensive side. It's been since set 2, since they really had this type of momentum going. Ball State gets the block.
We've talked about the young players and the past 2 points to tie set number 4 up at 4 is the veterans, Mackenzie Kitchell and Sabrina Magnapura. Goodsell, the sophomore, leading attacker on this Cardinals team, gives Ball State their first lead in a while. 5-4 with Hannah Smith, the freshman, serving. Not a powerful enough tip to get over the net. Ball State sneaking up on the Broncos with a 4-0 run.
And I understand why LeMay tried to switch it up there a little bit and go with the finesse attack, because Western Michigan has been all powerful attacks as of late, but that's been what's working.
Schnell is long as Ball State a 3-point lead. Hannah Smith, the most reliable server on this Cardinals team, back. 97% serving percentage. That is tops on the team. Into the net, Ball State, 6-0 run.
A big run right now for the Cardinals, and this is a chance with a 2-1 set lead to take the match in 4 sets. Ball State has to keep running with it.
Not giving way to Western Michigan like they did in set 3. Hannah Smith, we just mentioned the serving percentage. The broadcaster's curse is on her as she has a service too long. 8-5, Ball State still leads by 3. LeMay, trade service errors.
And that's something this late in the season where you can't have too many of those. Your offense, your defense, every aspect of the game needs to be shored up heading in to the conference tournament. We've seen it back and forth from both teams tonight.
One more point for Ball State may trigger a timeout from Coach Munson on Western Michigan's side. A block at the net from Van Beek and Goodsell. No timeout from Western Michigan as Ball State 8-1 run. DeVoe, the middle blocker, back serving for Ball State. Schnell with the tip, picked up by Ball State. Kennedy to Van Beek. She continues her powerful night. Now a timeout triggered by Western Michigan. 12-5, Ball State, the early 7-point lead in set number 4. Huh? Western Michigan walks back out on the court wondering what happened. They were up 4-2 in set 4, but Ball State on a 9-1 run leads 11-5 as they already took sets 1 and 2, looking to get out with a match victory that will help. DeVoe an ace. Avery DeVoe has grown into the middle blocker position this season with the likes of Kelly Hopkins, Amanda Raker last season at the middle blocker. Some younger players like Van Beek and DeVoe had to take over, and DeVoe has done just that, as has Van Beek in the past few matches.
And DeVoe is somebody who just a year ago only had a total of 5 kills. She enters this weekend with over 100 on the season, and we talked to Coach Kelly Miller about the difference, and she said a lot of it has to do with graduation and her stepping into a bigger role, but she's been more physical, she's been more confident, and you can see that confidence grow as the season goes on.
It looks like her confidence is at a high tonight. So is Ball State's. 12 1 run. Ball State leads by 9.
And DeVoe got going early, and that's why the confidence you see is translated in tonight. Through the first 5 points of the game, DeVoe had 3 kills. She led the way through the first 2 sets for this Ball State team. She took off early, and it's gone all match long.
Out of bounds, the run continues. DeVoe had a nice match against Akron last weekend in their 3-set victory. 8 kills, a 4-1-2 attacking percentage, along with 6 blocks defensively. Only continuing that performance tonight. Kitchell finally blocked by Kofi as she stares Kitchell down on the other end. 15-6. The Cardinals still make away with a 13-1 run after Western Michigan was leading 4-2 in set 4. Van Beek hits the net on her attack. Kitchell goes off speed. Western Michigan wasn't there.
Ball State cannot let up at this point right here. You already let up in set 3, allowed Western Michigan to win in dominant fashion in that set. Ball State's taken off here in set 4, a 16-6 lead. This right now is when you step on the throat, don't allow Western Michigan to get back in.
So interesting, the mental part of volleyball and sports in general. 4-2 lead early from Western Michigan in set 4 after coming off of a set 3 victory, 25-12. Ball State took the first 2 sets, and now all of a sudden, Ball State complete dominance. Rischitello, wide right. 18-6, Ball State 7 points away from closing out this match.
And all you have to do is take a look out on the floor right now. The high energy of Ball State, smiles across all the faces of the ladies right now, and it's because they're playing so well. The confidence is high. They know they're just a few points away from winning this match and heading into senior night against Northern Illinois tomorrow.
Goodsell with the attack. Murphy to Bosnick. Back to Kitchell offensively. You can still say the run. 17-2 run for Ball State after a 4-2 deficit to Western Michigan early in set 4. Ball State is dominating. During this timeout from Western Michigan, we'll send to our sideline reporter, Allison Luthman.
Ball State closing up the 4th set, but guys, like you said, Western Michigan really took control in that 3rd. Bailey Schnell leading the team in points. Now she's from the Indianapolis area and actually grew up playing club volleyball with Ball State's Kenji Kitchell. All through middle school, they were coached by the same coaches and developed their skills together to be here tonight playing Division I volleyball.
Thank you, Allie. We mentioned how Bailey Schnell is a native of Indianapolis, Indiana, and attended Roncalli High School. Was a 2014 Under Armour All-American honorable mention in high school. And this year, Coach Munson, in my talks with her, mentioned how Schnell has grown so much between the beginning of her freshman year to the point she is now in her sophomore year because of the fact that she is playing all 6 rotations. At the start of the year, she was only playing 3 rotations, but has developed her game defensively as well.
And Corey, that's what separates the freshman from having a good year and a bad year, is you're going to have your ups and downs. There's no doubt about it, trying to not only adjust to the game of college volleyball, but you're adjusting to the college life as well, being away from home for the first time, and that is what has separated Schnell, having a fantastic freshman season. She's capable of playing all 6 positions on the floor. She's excelling, and she is the reason that Western Michigan went on that run in the 3rd set. The powerful attack, they kept setting her time after time. She was able to take advantage and be aware of the Ball State defense, adjust to it, and had quite a few kills in that 3rd set.
Schnell right on cue with the kill. 19-7, Western Michigan attempting a huge comeback in set 4. They'll need it if they want to force a set 5 and get a match victory. Western Michigan, a team with a 2-match win streak coming into this match against Ball State. Kitchell left side, blocked by Kofi and Bosnick.
And that time I just don't think Kitchell read that well. It was just a bump set over from Avila. She had to keep it alive after Goodsell made a nice save. And instead of going with the powerful attack, that might just be one where you have to cut your losses and just send it back over the net on a free ball to Western Michigan.
Ball State looking shaky coming out of the timeout from Colleen Munson. Give 3 points right back to Western Michigan. And clearly the match is not over till it's over. Kitchell pushes it on Western's side. And a free ball over to the Broncos. Blocked by Van Beek. If she hasn't done enough already offensively, she adds the defense.
And I know that Van Beek is the MAC West Offensive Player of the Week this week, but this right here is why she's so important to the Ball State team. She's come in as a freshman, made her impact known more so on the defensive end throughout the season than she has on the offensive end. That's her biggest trait.
What a response from a freshman to end the 3-0 run that Western Michigan had created coming out of the timeout. Van Beek offensively hits the line. 21-9. Van Beek has 13 kills tonight. Her previous career high was 10 in the last match versus Akron. She's finally healthy, and her confidence is an all-time high. Kennedy, right back to Van Beek. This one's blocked. Mangapora ends it though. 13-point lead for Ball State, 3 points away from a match victory.
And Corey, that's just being aware of the defense. Mangapora read the defense. 2 Western Michigan defenders come over to block her at the net. She just sends a little tap over the net over to the opposite side where no Western Michigan defenders were.
Schnell, powerful right hand. Kofi pushes, Ball State keeping the ball alive. A block by Mangapora gives a point to Western Michigan. Ball State and Western Michigan was a close battle going into set 4. Western Michigan had a 4-2 lead in set number 4. But as you can see, Ball State has just completely responded, 2 points away from a match win after taking sets 1 and 2.
And Corey, if you're a Ball State fan, that's something you love to see because it shows how much they've grown. Ball State has been in this position before earlier in the year when they won the first 2 and then an opponent would make a run at them and then they would not necessarily give up, but they would shut down. They wouldn't know how to respond after a team made a run. You're seeing the exact opposite at this point in the year from Ball State. Western Michigan responded, won set 3 in dominating fashion. Ball State sat down, made adjustments from head coach Kelly Miller between sets 3 and 4, and they've come out on a tear in set 4.
23-11. Ball State only needs 2 more points to end set number 4 and take a match win. Western Michigan still fighting late in the set. It may be too little too late. Kennedy in the middle to Mangapora. Blocked by DeVoe, unable to recover was Western Michigan. Set point for Ball State, 24-12. Match point, McAllen Kennedy, the setter for Ball State, back. Schnell into the blockers. Ball State will have to wait one more. 11-point lead for the Cardinals. And now Bailey Schnell back to serve for Western Michigan. Another responsive point by Kiana Ware. Western Michigan not going away yet, 24-14. Still 10 points to win this match for the Cardinals. Mangapura ends it. Ball State takes the match and set 4, 25-14. To move on to Northern Illinois tomorrow with a chance at the number 4 seed in the MAC tournament. Close it in dramatic fashion, 25-14. Maybe not dramatic fashion, but dominant fashion for sure, after taking sets 1 and 2. Allison Luthman is standing by with Sydney Van Beek and head coach Kelly Miller.
Sydney, a lot going on tonight, a new career high in kills, and then a tough third set. How did you achieve those sets tonight?
I think we all worked together pretty well. I mean, when some things weren't working, we were trying to stay together, keep the energy up, stay all in all the time. That's what our goal is, and we achieved that tonight for sure.
Yeah. And Coach, the team started off so strongly in the first 2 sets. What happened in that third?
You know, I just think Western just got a little bit of momentum early. We made a few too many hitting errors right out the gate and really kind of got Western's momentum. I didn't really feel like, you know, it was too much that they were doing. It was just all our errors. And I think after we cleaned that up set 4, you know, we were back in pure rhythm.
Then heading in tomorrow, NIU leads the match. How are we preparing for this, and what is the focus tomorrow?
You know, we're preparing just like we would for any other match. We are going to scout them. We're going to know exactly what they're doing. I think that's the best thing we did tonight. We knew what they were going to do before they did. And I thought that's why our defense was all over the place. And that was a real credit to our backcourt defense and as well as our blocking. We got to make sure tomorrow we carry that over because we're going to have to play all kinds of defense versus NIU. And if we can play like that, we're going to have a chance to beat them.
Thank you so much. Best of luck tomorrow. Cora, Noah, back to you.
Thank you, Allison, and thank you to head coach Kelly Miller and Sydney Van Beek. Taking a look back at this match, Ball State out to an early 2-set lead. Western Michigan responded dramatically, and then Ball State finished it out in set 4.
Well, it was aggression back and forth, and the team that was most aggressive throughout the way was the team that had control. Sets 1 and 2, Ball State, then Western Michigan answers in set 3. A lot of hard attacks up the middle. Ball State's defense was kept back on their heels. You see Western Michigan's defense there controlling at the net, and then set 4, Ball State answers in a big way. Avery DeVoe there goes down the middle with nobody there for Western Michigan's defense. It was offensively and defensively. Ball State's aggression at the net was the difference in today's match, giving them a 3-1 victory.
And Ball State seemed like in set 4, they just took back control after trailing 4-1 in that set. Defense was key, especially from those middle blockers, Sydney Van Beek and Avery DeVoe. Taking a look at the stats for tonight, Western Michigan ironically ends with more kills on the night, although Ball State took the match in 4 sets. Similar blocking numbers, hitting percentage is where the real difference comes into play, and that's all defense at the net.
That's exactly right, Corey. You see the numbers are almost identical all the way down until the hitting percentage. 160, not necessarily the best hitting percentage for Ball State, but Western Michigan couldn't even eclipse the 100 mark, and that had a lot to do with Ball State's defensive presence. Head coach Kelly Miller talked about that earlier this week. When Ball State's playing their best on the defensive end, it's tough to beat them. You see that tonight heading into tomorrow, senior night, a chance to shore up a spot in a first-round bye if they can win and have a little bit of help going into the MAC tournament.
Northern Illinois beat Toledo tonight, giving Ball State currently the 5th spot in the Mid-American Conference Tournament. Bowling Green, on the other hand, ended up winning. Tonight's Ball State Sports Link production was produced by Caitlin Young and directed by J.C. Obringer. For Noah Reed and Allison Luthman, I'm Corey Stace, saying so long from Muncie, where the final score is Ball State 3, Western Michigan 1. To watch this entire game on replay, as well as other games in our family of ESPN networks, log on to watchespn.com or download the Watch ESPN app. Thanks everybody for watching. This has been a presentation of ESPN.